Esther Buerki, book writing expert and writer. I help women to overcome the fear of writing and publishing their book. And if you wish to be supported in your book writing journey, join my next masterclass. You'll find the link in the show notes. And please share it with your friend who you know is thinking of writing her or his book for ages. And today's episode is a special one where I'd love to share more of my personal story. Well, you might know I have already published 2 children's books in 3 languages and a 3rd book about a sweet cat story in 2 languages in the last 4 years. But I haven't yet published the book about my story of my fears, of my parents, of my childhood, and about the self-confidence I was searching for so many decades. This book, titled Living Without Fear, is still in the making. It's now done in German, but it goes to the English translator tomorrow, and then I will publish it on Amazon, as Amazon did already such a great job with my last book, Lulu and Lupi. Although I have days where sometimes thoughts of unworthiness to write and publish this book cross my mind, I will stick to it. I will publish, no matter what. I am determined. But what I really want to share with you is this realization I had that I always compared myself to the writers who have already published. I never compared myself to those who have their books in the computer or in their mind and who are too afraid to publish it because they are afraid of failure, of not being seen, read or understood. And there are so many of us who have these books somewhere and who aren't ready or will never be ready to overcome the fear of publishing it. I always compared myself with those who have their books out, who have beautiful reviews in newspaper articles or on Amazon, best-selling author, New York Times bestseller, etc., etc. I compared myself with those who have their books translated in 20 other languages, and I told myself in the past, I will never be like this author because I'm so afraid of publishing a children's book with a story which is kind of my personal story of not feeling good enough. I always saw these authors who have plenty of self-confidence, who put one book after the other on the market, and I always guessed that they never feel frightened to publish the next book. Do you have similar thoughts? Does my thinking resonate with yours? Well, in the last few weeks I realized that I feel some kind of pride sneaking into my thoughts. I started thinking differently, and I started looking forward to have my book Living Without Fear published, because with every step I took, I felt a tiny step closer to this publication. For example, when I shared the manuscript with the first reader, the very first reader, I barely couldn't believe and trust her feedback. "This is so amazing," she said. "It looks as if you have written my own story, and I've read your manuscript in one go. I couldn't put it aside until I had finished reading it to the end." Wow, I haven't expected to hear this. The next big step for me was to send it to the proofreader. And she wrote to me, "It's impressive how sincerely you share your story and how captivating you wrote about your struggles." Wow. Again, I hardly believed her feedback. And when I asked the English translator if she was interested in this book, if she felt drawn to translate it, and she gave me a big yes. "It sounds compelling, your book," she said. "I'd feel grateful to find your personal English voice." Again, I felt this joy of working towards my publication. But what if other people don't like my book? What if people laugh at me? What if people talk about my book behind my back and somebody reports this to me? Again, I had to work very intensely on my mindset. Asking these questions didn't help those who need to read my story, who need to hear what I have to share. These questions were definitely the wrong questions. And I remembered again my big mentor, Tony Robbins, who always says, "You need to ask empowering questions, not disempowering ones." Oh, I love what he says. So I was asking myself, what do I need to tell myself that I feel empowered to publish my book? Comparing with others doesn't help. Hearing the critical voices who didn't even show up yet beforehand doesn't help either. How about comparing myself with me? How did I feel when I published my first children's book 4 years ago? I was so afraid of my baby that nobody would like it. And there were so many who loved it and couldn't thank me enough for my touching story for sensitive children and their parents. Adults had tears in their eyes when they listened to my reading to children. But there were also 2 people who didn't like the beautiful illustrations from my Bulgarian illustrator. And those 2 gave me such a hard time. I forgot all the hundreds of amazing feedbacks and I heard only these 2 critical ones. I wasn't that strong yet with my mindset. But fortunately, I was growing, and today I'm pretty sure that my book won't be loved by everyone. But I am so strongly convinced that there will be some people who will need my inspiring story to move forward with their dreams. I know this. I feel it. And that's why I'm confident and even proud of myself that I will finally publish the book, my book, who has already changed my life and my mindset and who will definitely help others. So, if you like to work on your mindset and to learn the steps to overcome your fear, please do sign up for my next masterclass. Go to www.estherbuerki.com/masterclass-registration. You'll find it also in the show notes of the podcast. And please share this podcast with someone who needs to overcome these fears as well. Thank you so much for your help to spread this podcast. Have an amazing day.